Hey everyone, welcome to the Showdown Quickies. So I start off with my Shaitan. He brings out his Drill Ball. I was pretty sure I can kill out this Drill Ball with my Boom Blast, so I was like, fuck it, just go for Boom Burst. So that thing goes down really quickly. He goes out for the Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime has pretty good special defense, so I go into Vela, hits me with a Side Shock, which sucks because I'm mainly special defense. If he goes for another Side Shock, I go for Sludge Bomb, hoping to kill it. It only does 57 damage, which sucks, because I'm not able to take it down completely, and Vela goes down without really doing much. But at the very least, I can go out into Shatat, take a Side Shock with a lot of damage, but go for a Boom Burst and finish off Mr. Mime. He goes into Macargo, I go into Boom Burst because I figured I don't really have much else I can do, and there's no point in me trying to use Nasty Plot because he would have killed me off in one hurt, or rather, there's no point in using Roost. So I go into my Quake. He switches out, goes into Parasect. I figured he switched, so I go use a Substitute. Forgot he actually had a Parasect. So I figured there wasn't really much I can do except boost up for a while, but then he goes into this Politoed, and I'm thinking, alright, well, I guess I'll just keep boosting, but then this fucking thing uses Perish Song, and I'm just like, well, shit. There goes all that. So he goes back to the Parasect, who can easily get rid of my Substitute. I go for an Earthquake, try to do some damage. Doesn't make a difference, so I figured, shit, let me get the hell out of here now that I'm full health. Go into Yanagasi, and I get hit with a X-Scissor, which apparently is super effective on Parasect. I thought it was the bug type so I could resist it, so I was like, well, that fucking sucks. I can't go for a Spore. I could have gone for a Synthesis, but it would have been pointless, so I just go for an X-Scissors, do some damage, but go down. Go into Elizabeth after that. He switches, brings back the Politoed. I go into Signal Beam because I was pretty sure he was going to switch, so there's no point in going to Ice Beam. Hit that thing with another Signal Beam, confuse it, and it hits me with a Scold, and it does not a lot of damage, but that's alright because I'm figuring out this thing is confused. But he decides to switch into his Macargo, which kind of sucks because I'm Choice Specs and I'm locked into Signal Beam. So, decided to get the hell out of there. Going to Quake, he uses Recover, reading my switch, which is really fucking lame. I'm obviously not going to be able to get in a hit on this thing because he's going to switch, so I decide to do a double into my Slacking, but then he switches into Macargo after switching into Politoed, and I managed to hit that thing with an Earthquake, kill it. I stay in just because I wasn't really sure what he was going to use. He was expecting me to switch into my other two water types, so he goes for a Giga Drain, which doesn't do much damage. So I stay in, use the Taunt, or the Taunt gets used, I should say. Use an Earthquake, he switches into his Parasect and takes it not so well, puts me to sleep with a fucking Spore, and then uses Synthesis as I stay in, since I don't really know what I should do at this point, since this Parasect can kind of wreck me with Grass type moves, which it hasn't used yet. So I decide, fuck it, I go into my Elizabeth. He goes into his, or rather he stays with this Parasect, uses his Synthesis. I go, use an Ice Beam, almost kill it, not enough with a critical hit, unfortunately, and he just goes ahead and switches out, go into Politoed, hit that thing with an Ice Beam, doesn't do much damage, so I get the hell out of there, go into Quake, he uses Perish Song, and I'm just like, this fucking Politoed, because at this rate, we're pretty much at a standstill where we can't really do too much unless we manage to get a pretty good solid hit on each other. So I go ahead and use the Dragon Dance, he uses Rest, puts himself to sleep, heals himself fully, use another Dragon Dance, not really sure what the fuck I'm going to do at this point, but I'm going to die next turn if I don't switch. So I figured, maybe Wish Cast can be useful, so I switched into Nastasha, maybe I can burn off a turn of sleep, goes into his Parasect, and unfortunately Nastasha is still sleeping, so he uses Synthesis, basically back to full health at this point. Switches out, goes into Politoed, to finally wake up. Unfortunately, when I have the Fire Punch, so it does no damage to the Politoed, I have to get the hell out of there. Go into my Whiscash, who thankfully is up against a sleeping Politoed still. So, decided to go for a Dragon Dance. He wakes up, and what do you know, uses Perish Song. At this point, I'm just like, oh, fuck you and your fucking bullshit move. So I just go for the Earthquake, because I figured, what the hell is the point of me even trying to go back and forth. Pretty soon the guy, I guess, kind of just gives up because he sees he doesn't really have too many attacking options. So I switch, go into Nastasha, he uses Protect, which fails. He's going to faint next turn, so he's pretty much going to die. He decides to pretty much just stay in and kill his Politoed because he's like, fuck it. And I switch, go into Elizabeth. He was probably hoping I would attack, waste my turn on Taunt. I go into Elizabeth as he goes into Survivor, kill that thing with a Psychic. Then he goes into Parasect, or hit with another Psychic. He puts me to sleep. And I was going to think of staying in just to sort of waste this thing's move, or rather hope I wake up, but I figured, no, that's stupid. Elizabeth is more useful sleeping because of sleep cost, so I go into Quake. He hits me with an X-Scissor, doesn't do too much damage. I use a Substitute, hits me with another X-Scissor for whatever reason, so I'm guessing this thing just doesn't have a Grass type move, or I don't know what the case is, but just keeps using X-Scissors. I just use Substitute just because there's not really much for me to do, but I figured I'd just try and sort of kill out maybe some PP, see what can happen, or either way just kill out my Wish Cast so I can go into Nastasha just used a fire punch. I was considering retaliate, but that would have been really pointless. Stay fresh.
He moves onward without pause until the day he completes his great quest